Welcome back to my YouTube channel, guys. I'm your host, Stilo, and in today's episode, we're going to be showing you guys an older house that we had shown in our previous episode. Not an old house, but it's a new construction. We're going to see the inside of it. It's completely finished. Stay tuned. Welcome back, guys. And this is the house I think I may have shown you guys on a previous video. The house was still under construction. Now they've actually gotten it to the point where the new owners can move in. So it is move-in ready, but you know, there's some site work that needs to be done, sodding, some concrete. We'll show you guys on a future episode or a future upload what the outside looks like. Now, I took a few photos kind of going around the house. You guys can get a good sense of what the house looks like. It's really nice house. I think they did a decent job, the contractors. I won't name any names just because, but as you can see, they had a nice little brick wainscot around the perimeter of the house. It's board and batten, which I think is very popular. It's all white. I don't know if you guys appreciate the windows are that black frame, which looks really elegant. In my opinion, it looks really elegant. Most of the house is a shingle roof, and it's got a little bit, I think, of a metal roof right in this vicinity right here. It looks really nice. Let me zoom in and see if I think it is. No, it's shingle. It's just a shadow of the sky and the sun. I was digging, and I don't know why they threw sod right around this driveway. There should be a concrete drive that kind of comes around this direction and up the steps, right up there. The house looks really clean. It's out in Milton, and the property is a private property. It's all the way in the back. And they also did the sod right here by the steps, but that's going to be taken off. I love the black columns. What I would have loved to have seen them do is maybe the soffit or the fascia have gone black, but it still looks really elegant. Let me see if I can show you guys another shot. Okay, so now we're on the inside. You guys are gonna dig the island. The owner was wanting to do a really nice size island so he would have guests sit down. And I think this is one thing that I always have debates with clients, whether they want to face the guests doing dishes or they want to face the guests while they're cooking. Because I don't know if you guys have seen other houses where they have like a cooking island, and then they have an exhaust grill right over the island, which to me looks really awesome. I think that's mostly the cooking effort is spent talking to your guests. You know, they can appreciate and admire if you're a chef connoisseur of sorts. But in this case, they went with the cooktop being against the wall. Now the one thing that we don't see here is that they're going to go with a backsplash, and what I suggested to them do is extend the backsplash all the way up to the top. I think they're just going to stop it at this point, but you know, I'm sure that they'll convince the contractor to do something. Now, what the difference between what the contractor provided and what the owner decided to do was they went ahead, the owner decided to go ahead and replace all the handles on this house with this beautiful bronze handles on all the cabinets. Now, the basic house has the cabinets stop right about this line, which is about the 8-foot line. So these are oversized cabinets. These are not your standard cabinets. And then what they ended up doing, they ended up getting a second cabinet and put it on the top. Now they had an option to do one or two things: either leave them open so they can showcase boxes or anything that's really like elegant, and you want to keep it safe from being down, wall, they have one of those water dispensing faucets. Right now, it's not there. It's just a pipe, but that's what they're wanting to install at that location. Now, if you notice, a lot of these doors in the background, in reality, the basic house has 7 foot tall doors, which is almost a foot. This is the frame. This is where the hinge is located. That's about the height of a 7 foot door. Now these are 8 foot doors, which adds a nice presence. The ceiling is 10 foot tall ceilings. I don't know if you guys can get a feel for that. That's like a 6 foot ladder. So then you got an 11 foot coffer right around this area. And the one thing that the owner didn't want to do, they didn't want to spend extra money on all that crown molding. That's not unnecessary. The house has a nice clean look to it. I think it looks elegant. The flooring makes it shine, especially because it's got that nice contrast between the floor and the ceiling. I love what they did with the island, contrasting the cabinet with the white cabinets with this navy blue cabinet, and it's a double-sided island, which means that you can actually store on the front and store in the back underneath the bar itself. Let's take a look real quick. Now on the opposite side, we just turned and look to the left. They created a built-in fireplace. Now this one's a really neat digital LED, I think, fireplace, which I think also produces heat. It's really nice effect. This is where they're gonna have their, I think the 65 or 70 inch TV located with bookshelves on both sides. Nice ceiling fan, again recessed lighting. I don't know if you guys have been going to Home Depot or Lowe's, but they're having there's a new product out there. It's a disc, an LED disc that's about the thickness of the standard gypsum wallboard, and it's really neat because it just pops in place, and you don't have to. All you got to do is cut and then run the wires to where they need to. But the disc kind of sits really flush. It doesn't take up a lot of room, and I think they're UL friendly, so that you can have either blown-in bat or acoustical bat over the top of it, or bat insulation for your attic space. As you can see, all the doors, not a lot of them, all the doors are 8 foot tall, really nice, and I just like the presence of it. Now I went in and took, this is the shared bathroom for the kids, and I love the tile, what they did with the tile, and they went with the white grout. I would have liked to have seen a black grout, just to contrast that tile with that background. And obviously this is the shared bathroom, so there is no need to kind of spend the money on the shower surround. So they went with the fiberglass. Now I don't know if you noticed, but the tops of these are these custom solid surface products with the edge kind of going in. So the sink is not a drop-in, what they call a drop-in. It's got a lip around the top. It's adhered to the bottom of the solid surface material, and it just kind of, the water, if you're washing your hands and you had any water on top of the counter, it just drops into the bowl without having any major issues. I love that it's a clean touch. Here's kind of looking back at the kitchen, and you can kind of see they went with a nice just a drop-in top cooktop, and you can kind of see right here some of the details where I was talking about the handles, and then the water dispensing feature. And you can kind of see the flooring here. You can get a sense of it. It's really adds an extra touch to it. Here's another shot of it, and then this is looking back into the island. So you got a washer, a dishwasher, and then the sink. And if you guys would have seen the process of this, it's really neat, because I think what they did is they had a front face with a beveled cut. So the top sheet was placed, and then the sides were placed afterwards, and then the sides had a bevel edge, which makes it look flawless. Once they do, they adhere the joint, and it's done so well that you can barely tell where the joints are. You can see there's a little joint there, but you can't see nothing on the outer parts. This looks nice and clean. I think the owner was very happy with what they did. He said Whirlpool appliances, and then the faucet, and then they have a spice rack on the sides, and a couple. This one's a trash bin. They can just pull this out, and then there's a bin there. Really nice. It actually wraps the bar area wraps in two sides. I think it may wrap on the other side too. So there's room for more chairs for people to kind of sit at the bar. Now this is the laundry room, and what's really nice is they kept the same towel. It's a little dirty, but they kept the same towel that they use in the kids' bathroom. There's your connector for your dryer, and there's your plug, and then here's your connector for your hot water and cold, and then here's your drain for your washing machine, and here's your plug. So I love the linear lights, and I try to promote this to clients. It lets a little bit of natural light into these spaces that are just utilitarian, and they got you don't need to have a view to the outside, but it does kind of bring some natural light, and it just kind of helps folks when they're doing laundry. What I like to do a lot of the times is I try to keep the washer and dryer to the exterior wall, because we end up having issues with some houses where they end up extending the lint hose that comes out of the dryer through the roof, through the ceiling, all the way out to like a soffit edge or to the exterior wall. I'm telling you, I don't know if you guys seen some of those videos on YouTube when they clean those things out after 5-6 years. There's so much debris in there. It's a fire hazard. I wouldn't recommend it. Try to keep those lines as short as possible, and do install or request to install a lint cleaning door, either at the very beginning or closer to the end of the pipe, so you can actually get those things clean. You got to have those things clean at least once a year, and I know nobody does them, but I wouldn't be a good architect if I didn't tell people maintenance is critical in any building. Here's the master bedroom. They actually added a little counter with a sink, so they can. And I talked to the owner. He likes to have coffee, and they're gonna put a little undercounter refrigerator here, and this may be something convenience for them to have. Again, the windows are about 6 foot tall, 5'7" I think, and then 3.5 foot wide. Really nice. The frame on the inside is white, and you saw the frames on the outside, they're black, so it adds a nice touch. Again, doors are 8 foot tall, doors, and 10 foot ceilings, and then the coffer, 11 foot coffer, with these nice ceiling fans. And you kind of see what the flooring is. Now we're walking into the master bathroom, which is still a little unfinished. They got to put a couple mirrors here, but you can kind of see the fixtures, the lights, the flooring. Again, it's that tile. I think it's porcelain tile that they got, and the top the owners wanted to match the top with the tile as close as possible. And you can only get so much from a certain product line, but these guys did a wonderful job installing this. You can see the veins kind of wrapping down into the inside of the sinks, which adds a nice touch to it. This is the shower. It's all white. They did a great job. I think they could have done a little better job, but it does add a nice touch to it. So hopefully they'll do like a glass enclosure. It's towel work. It's an art form, so take it a grain of salt. But it looks nice. And again, and then this is the his and hers closet with an island. I really like this. But one thing I have not seen, and this usually comes from like custom cabinetry makers, is that sometimes these cabinets, they can split those suckers in half and then have drawers on both sides, but it reduces the capacity of those drawers. So a lot of the times, and what the owner was telling me is like, this side is going to be his side and this is going to be hers. She'll have access to all the drawers. There may be some minor stuff that's in there that they'll prefer to share some of the drawers. And I like the window. It brings a little natural light, and it always helps to have some natural light inside the closets. Now these are temporary, from what I understand. They may down the road do some built-ins, which adds a significant amount of money to the overall cost of the construction. So they kind of kept these for the time being, and as time goes by. And again, the showers, and then looking back at the his and hers vanity in the master bathroom. This is the living room with fireplace, built-in fireplace. This is the back of the house, and what I really enjoyed about the back of the house is the original design stopped the back of the house at this line. The owner felt that it was just too small, so they added an additional 10 feet out and extended it all the way to the edge of the house. So it would have just stopped by the door and then gone to this corner, which doesn't make it very usable, friendly. And then what they'll do down the road, they're gonna do like a screen enclosure, because they want to add a pool. And then that, you can just imagine all the social events during the cool months of the year, because here in Pensacola we do encounter nice cool months throughout November, December, even October and January, February. I think we start losing the cool February, March. Maybe we get a little bit of March, but not too bad. And what I did is, I'm gonna put this on pause for 2 seconds. I went and did a walkthrough of the house so you guys can have a nice little video of what it feels like. Because sometimes I wish I would have done a VR and would have shared it with you guys. I would have put a link down below. Now that they've moved in, I highly doubt that they're going to want to do that. But I don't know if you guys are familiar with Matterport, but that's another way of kind of capturing your house in 3D. And what I've been noticing, a lot of the realtors on high-end $1 million houses, they're doing these 360 VR virtual reality kind of photos where you can actually get inside a room, and then you can pan around that room, look in all different directions. And maybe what I'll do is I'll do a video of that one day. You guys can check it out, and you can tell me if you like it or not, if it's something that you would want to get done for you guys' house if you decide to sell it. We do provide services for that too, so let's check this out. Camera is bugging out a little bit, but again, 10-foot ceilings. Some of the lights here, I think the owner selected, or they were just contractor purchased. Now you can kind of see there's a wire that's coming out of the window. I don't know if you guys are familiar with I think that dish company that provides internet for Ukraine that Elon Musk owns. I'm trying to remember what the name of it is, but if you guys do remember that name, jot it down in the comments below, and kind of remind me. I tend to forget that kind of stuff. I love the shelving, the different color shelving. I think they did a great job with that. It kind of adds a little touch. And it took them a little longer to do this one because the owner wanted some minor change. This is interesting refrigerator. It's got a glass front. I've never seen one like this. I think it may have been a special order. The inside of the cabinets are all wood with those that automatic or pneumatic closers. That's where they put all this stuff. I like it because nobody can slam those doors. Nice exhaust, stainless steel with that glass cooktop. Whirlpool, a little dirty, still cleaning the area up. They're just moving their stuff in. That top is phenomenal. I like the top. Now you do notice there's no backsplash, and I have been noticing in a lot of new construction, and you may go back to some of my older videos, in some of the newer houses, they're not putting backsplashes. Like everybody's moving away from that. Now, the one thing I would put backsplash is if you have a wet area. If you have a lot of splashing and washing hands and you're constantly doing stuff, I would want to do a backsplash, a 4-inch backsplash. Not required. That's a cooking sheet pan. They call it a sheet pan. And then I think that's a spice. Yep, the spice rack right there. I think it's there's a little bug. I think that love bugs were all over the house. I don't understand. It must be the area they were in, or the color of the house, or the paint smell, or something. I don't know why there were so many little love bugs. Again, you know, the whole look of the house and the feel, it feels so big because there's no columns. The trusses, yeah. Here's me looking at the way they kind of did this thing. It's like curiosity killed the cat. You're trying to always figure out what these guys are doing and how they're doing it. A lot of the times people don't know what these guys end up having to spend. I always hear this conversation. It's like, oh, but they're just putting a couple of lights, you know, why is it so much? If the light's $100, why are they charging me, you know, for 15 lights, you know, $5,000, $10,000, you know, but they don't see the guy crawling in the attic trying to run the wiring. You're not paying for somebody to crawl in the attic or play with wires. You're paying for this person's experience and license, and they're being held to a certain level of responsibility. And a lot of people kind of ask why they're so expensive. There's a reason why they're expensive, because they're being held responsible for a lot of stuff that's being done. And a lot of the stuff, in some of these jurisdictions, because they are self-certifying the work. A lot of times you don't even have an inspector come look at the work. They may do a brief overview inspection, but ultimately the person that installed it, the company that installed it, is responsible for the work. And if there's a problem down the road, then they're being held responsible. Now, here's a curious thing here, and I'll tell you this. I don't know if you guys just capture that one in 2 seconds that we were playing. When you walk into that laundry room, which in my photo it doesn't capture it, but in my video you capture it. I like turning the lights on. Kind of it gives you a sense of what that light feels like. Okay, right there. See that attic access? What's interesting about this house, and not a lot of people would know, is that if the owner hadn't brought up the point of how do I get access to that air conditioning system, because I don't know if you guys looked around, you're kind of looking, where's the AC closet? Where their AC closet or their AC system is up above. Now they may have a return down one of the walls, and you can kind of see a grill. If you saw a grill, you may rewind the video. If you saw a grill on the wall, that's where they replace the filter. But the air conditioning unit is up on the top, and it has, you know, it gets service. So you have to provide a place where you have access to it. Now, in some cases, I always try to convince my clients, if you're going to put an access hatch, get yourself an access ladder, one that you just pull down and get access directly to the top. Now, the one thing that you may have seen in the previous episode on this house is that the owner had chosen to do spray foam insulation to the underside of the wood deck. And what that does, and it helped them, is you can kind of look at the numbers to determine whether the cost of adding the spray foam saves you on the air conditioning unit. And what they ended up doing is the contractor didn't have to get such a big unit for that house. The house is almost 3,000 square feet. I don't think it's close to 4 tons. I may be wrong, but it helped them save a few $100s on the unit. And the other thing too that the contractor said is that what he's seen in the past is units tend to last longer when they're not in an attic that's unconditioned. Hot, humid, unconditioned spaces where AC units may reside end up breaking down sooner and quicker than a unit that's inside a closet in the hallway. But here's the other benefit too. The other benefit too is that your AC ducts, they don't have to be extremely insulated, and they're not sweating. They're not sitting in a sweat box like a lot of the older houses. At my house, even my house has it, is that they're sitting in an attic where it's just hot, humid. You're underneath the house, under the attic. You're nice and cool, but the attic's like 98% relative humidity is 120 degrees. So when that AC turns on, it has to push all that hot air out of the duct. And what do you get? You get a quick dump of hot air, and then the cold air comes out. And what's happening is that duct is hot. So when the air runs to that duct, it has to pull all the hot air out of there. And so the duct gets cooler as it begins to let that air out. And what happens to that duct? That duct in the attic, if it's not insulated properly and there's air gaps and it's hissing, guess what happens where it hisses? If a duct is like almost 60 degrees relative humidity, 60 degrees, and the attic's 120 with 90% relative humidity, and the AC coming out of the unit is drying out that space. What happens to the duct? It condensates. So you got cold air hitting hot air, moist hot air, it condensates. So where's the condensation going to occur? In a house during the cold weather, where does it condensate? It condensates on the inside, because that's where the heater is, right? So guess what happens to that duct on the outside? It's just sweating. It's sweating and dripping, and hopefully it's just the duct insulation is just absorbing that. So what happens to insulation when it absorbs moisture? The R value drops. So there you go, domino effect. You end up doing one thing and another. So really smart to do spray foam. You have to be careful who installs it in the mixture that they use, because I've seen some videos, horror stories about spray foam not being mixed properly, and it creates a toxic environment. And I've seen people remove entire roof trusses on houses because that stuff is adhered so well to the roof and the trusses that there's no way. Here's the little vanity in the master bedroom. Here I am turning it. Oh, there you go. I don't even know how to use that thing. But yeah, so that's a little built-in refrigerator for nightcaps. I guess I'm gonna call it nightcaps. And maybe one day I'll capture some video footage of it. I don't know what the camera did with it. Here's a little linen closet, really nice. 8-foot tall doors, pocket doors. This pocket door that you see right here on the left-hand side, and you're probably wondering where the toilet is, but the toilet is on this left door. Voila, there it is. I ain't turned the light on, but that is not a 30-inch toilet room. That is almost 3'6" or 3'5" toilet room. And it's massive. I mean, you could put cabinets next to that thing. That's how big it is. And then of course here's your master. And I didn't pull the pocket door here, but here's something really peculiar. The contractor did something really interesting on this pocket door. They put it on a 6-inch stud, and pocket doors don't need 6-inch studs. They come in kits. So you do the opening. You do the opening for the pocket door as twice the door leaf. So if the door leaf is 3 foot, the actual framed opening is 6 foot. So that when you install the pocket door kit is actually going to get the jip over that framing system. I had to look this up because I was talking to a client, and the curiosity is I talked to a general contractor, and he goes, "Man, I saw all these pocket doors, and they were hitting exterior walls." And I asked the contractor, I asked the designer, so how do you want me to install this pocket door if you're going and encroaching into the exterior wall? That means I have to frame an exterior wall to allow a pocket door kit to get installed in there. So if you don't know what you're drawing, research it, find out how it's done, because these type of questions will come up. And again, this goes back, here's that PVC piping. And that here's another attic access, because see, one of the things, if you go back to this original video of the previous video I uploaded on this, when we saw only framing, there's a plywood that extends all the way up to the roof around the garage. So that's what the owner said, is, hey, how do I get access to that AC unit? Because the contractor originally was just going to provide that attic access in the garage, and the contractor scratches his head and says, "You're right. There is no way to get it to it unless we provide either a door on that wall or another. So they provided another attic access from the laundry room. So you can kind of sense. I don't know if you captured a little bit of that, but we're walking around, checking out the surrounding areas. Oh, and here's that star. That's it. I remember now. Starlink. Here's a Starlink. There it is. He says he pays about $125 and he gets internet. And since he watches Netflix and all these other online TV services, he says the house is on a septic system and in a well, so they have a filtering system. I think you may have seen it on the previous video. So he literally is, and in the near future, he's thinking about doing the Tesla battery packs with the solar panels. So his house could technically down the road, 5 years from now, he completely be off the grid. So he's got wireless, cable, internet, everything else, using the Starlink. He can watch movies and do whatever he wants. And then he's going to put solar with the battery pack so that in the daytime, the battery packs are charging whether at work. And at night, they don't need to worry about solar battery, and they can just do the battery backup to provide the power to the house. And I even mentioned to him, it's like, what you could do down the road. You can go with a geothermal system for your air conditioning, where they just trench out some lines in your yard, and they'll drop in this new geothermal. I think it's a grid. They call it a grid, and they just run lines instead of going down into the ground. They just run horizontal lines, and it cools the system enough that it makes the temperature in the coil like 60 degrees, and the system can remove moisture out of the house. And there you go. That's another system where instead of having a $300 bill, drops down to $150. And then you can also go with the solar water heating. So if he went with the solar water heating, his water heating wouldn't even his heater, which I think what he's got is he's got just an instantaneous an on-demand water heater system. So he doesn't have to worry about that. But down the road, this is what they're looking at doing, maybe a pool and all that. So they're I think on 5 or 7 acres. I don't know how many acres there are, but really nice house. It's too bad that it took so long. And again, this is hardy, board and batten, and there's your pegs. And this is one of the things that for here in Florida, you don't need to buy the hurricane shutters, but you do need to provide the pegs so that the windows are ready to receive hurricane shutters. And you just have to buy the shutters to the peg length, so that those guys can cut the panels and place the holes, because they'll pre-drill the hole, or I think they punch the holes in those hurricane panels, and all you got to do is just bring them home. If not, you can always do fabric. I think this one may not be set up for fabric, because I think the fabric needs like a certain distance from the glass, and on the top part of the single hung window is a little too close to that. But it'd probably be fine if you did fabric. I would check with the Florida Building Code just to make sure, or local authorized installer of this product, so they understand, because I think a lot of the times Florida product approval tells them what they can and can't do. And there you have it, folks. Thank you for hanging out with us and checking out this house. Maybe you guys picked up something you enjoyed watching. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next upload. See ya.